Hello, this is the Aftermarket Report with Vegas and Jim, February the 12th, 2019. Our second day in chat, our chat room. I love stocks, and I'm going to hand this right over to Miss Vegas.
Well, hello everyone. What an interesting day in the market. I mean, sometimes in the day it was really exciting, and then sometimes it had a lull, and then it got exciting again. So I hope you guys traded safely and traded green, or sometimes, you know what? There is nothing wrong to cut losses fast or just sit on your hands and just watch the market. So today we're going to talk about, I want to give an update on SHLDQ, which is Sears. I want to talk about CRMD. We're going to follow up on the one we talked about last night, which was APPS Digital Turbine. And I want to talk about PYX. And of course, we want to wrap up our talk on shrimp. So let's get started. So we're going to talk about SHLDQ because you guys know that's the Sears stock. Unfortunately, it did move to OTC. And, we talked about this since last week. And you guys remember when I talked about this last week because of the news that the chairman of the board is taking over with his hedge fund and saving over 50,000 jobs, actually, said keep this on watch. And do you know that back then, the stock, even though it's an OTC, some people should not be afraid of OTC. There's good setups there if you do the right due diligence. You can make money. So I know some people sometimes bash OTC. They really shouldn't. You should actually do the due diligence, and maybe sometimes you may need to feel more cautious about it. But there's reasons why sometimes a stock goes somewhere, and that doesn't mean that it's because it's not a good company. So here's a prime example. We talked about Sears at the time the news came out after hours last week, announcing that the judge approved him to take over and save the company. And we said that the investing community would probably like that because we're saving jobs. Anyhow, the stock was at 75 cents and it ran as high as $2.10 today. Super, super impressive. And Jim can show you that on the play of the day. But in a way, it's like a swing trade play because we've been talking about this since last week, even talked about it yesterday. And again, if you even traded this today, I mean, it opened at $1.36, went as high as 210. I mean, you would have made very good money on the stock. So congratulations. If you listened to Jim's support and resistance lines, you made money on Sears. Now, Jim, turning it over to you now to talk about the chart because I love the volume today. Over 23 million shares traded. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on, where do you see support and resistance next? And what do you see forthcoming on the action from this chart?
Yep. Last Thursday, we called this thing after hours, after the market was closed, and then also, we were watching it run up the next morning. But we called it at 75 cents, said we were hot on its trail. The news was great. Going to pull out of bankruptcy soon. So the next day, she went ahead and broke out first thing that morning and ran up here to about 109 from 75 cents. And then it decided to consolidate the rest of that day. And then again, yesterday we talked about it. It ran all the way up from, or even Friday we talked about it at close. And over the weekend we come in Monday and it opened up and it ran up all the way up to an end of the day high of about 142 and then pulled back a little bit, just a little bit after hours. And as Miss Vegas said, it opened up at 136 this morning, and then it ran all the way up to $2.10. And it really was a real nice run right in the first thing out of the gate. You could have took your profit right there if you wanted to at 179. But if you held on and ran it all the way up and hit this 50 SMA on a 5-day, 5-minute chart, it went ahead and broke out and hit that 210 area. And then we consolidated and pulled back here at 189. Well, what I'm seeing now is little choppiness or some consolidation. But again, we called this out last Thursday at 75 cents. And within 3 days, we got it up here to 210. And I knew it was a bullish stock just off the news alone. And I called this out in a room way back when it was at 20 cents. So I'm going to open it up to a 1-day chart just to have you have a look at it. And then we're going to move on to the next stock. So we broke out from this 100 SMA. First thing in the morning, it pulled back just a little bit from that previous day's high, which was right around 150. Pulled back to 132, 136, where I had my trend line at from the day before, where it hit that high right there. She went ahead and rose above the and covered on the 50 SMA, and then finally, when it hit a resistance double top area here, it pulled back to the 200, bounced up, hit that 100, and bounced back down again, creating a double bottom, which I see right now. I'm going to draw me a little trend line right here for reference for new support. And I can see that right in here by this bottom, and then we pulled back to this bottom right here. So if I'd been watching this chart earlier, I'd probably got in that little pullback right there. So I'm going to put that right here at 185. And there I go, 185. So if this thing, and it did try to pull back here to that 185 area. So I'm going to use a mental idea of where I think support's going to be on this stock. I think it could probably pull back to this area at 166. Looks to me like a pretty good little consolidation area, or right around to 175. So we're going to put that in there, and I'm going to turn this into a red line right here. I'm going to call that my first support there at 175. And we're going to see if it stops there. If not, if it pulls back below this first support here at 185. So you got 185, 175, and then down here right around 166. And if that don't hold, we got a previous high from yesterday, and that'll be right here at $1.50. And I'll make that my low support right there at $1.50 for a pullback. I'm still bullish on this stock, but there's got to be a time where it's got to pull back and consolidate a little bit. And I'll show you later down the in our last pick here what I mean by pulling back. So this is Sears, SHLDQ. Keep a good eye on it. We had another great run on it. We've called this out since last Thursday from 75 cents all the way up to 210. And we called this, or I called this, the play of the swing trade week, play of the day, because it really was a nice play of the day. It ran from 130 all the way up to 210. And, you know, that's a pretty good little bounce right there. 70, 80 cent bounce on a OTC penny stock. And it's really a big company. It's not no small little company that doesn't, you know, bring in the revenue. This is a big company. Sears has been around for a long time. And the next one we're going to talk about is one that Vegas has a real special alert she wants to give us about, CRMD.
Yeah, so I just want to say this is the company called CorMedix. And I've been watching this company actually for quite some time. And there's a couple of reasons why I've been watching this company. First of all, I like the fact, they're a biopharmaceutical company. They're very involved in a product called Nutrilin. And it's basically like a non-antibiotic, antimicrobial solution that helps prevent any infections that are dangerous to the bloodstream with the use of the intravenous and catheters that people have to use. People get sometimes like infections from having a catheter, or they get an infection because the IV, and sometimes if you get an infection, it goes to your bloodstream. So this product that they're developing is currently in a phase 3 clinical trial, and they were enrolling patients that are undergoing the chronic hemodialysis. And these kinds of infections, by the way, have cost the country $6 billion. And sometimes people have unfortunately died because the infection's been so bad. So with this Nutrilin, it was given FDA fast tracking. So that was great. But what appealed to me really the most about this was I noticed that a couple weeks ago, I've been, as you guys know, I've been, learning about and trading options, not major, but, slowly, I'm getting better each time. And I noticed with options in particular that CRMD, I was watching some money flowing into the option calls. And in particular, I noticed money going into an option call on CRMD for an option strike price of $2.50. And that was going to expire March 15. And at the time it was, 40 cents. Now it's at 55. So It finally did move today to 55, but it was 40 cents when I bought it back then. And I kept thinking, this is kind of weird that somebody is buying option, money's going in here for an option call for a stock this cheap. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'll check it out. Then I noticed that there was a lot of insider buying as well that took place back in December. So I've been, keeping a watch on the stock, but today in particular is really where I was really watching the stock. And I mean, the option was doing nothing for me all this time. So I just, wasn't noticing it. But then today, I noticed that CRMD started having some action. Kind of, I noticed the action, I would say around 9:30 in the morning, and the stock started to move. The stock opened up around 217, went as high as 272, and has had a bit of a pullback. But there was a lot of action around 3:15 today, 3:12. Some major volume started coming and picking up. So I'm actually pleased with what I'm seeing on CRMD. I'm kind of looking for a continuation in the stock. And I'm going to turn it over to Jim, but I was first attracted to this really based on the option, and then I found out about insider buy, and then I kind of like the technicals on it from today, and very impressive volume, over 10.51 million shares. So, Jim, what are you seeing on this chart? Because we went as high as 272 today.
Well, I see that you missed something on it.
Oh, what did I
You
miss?
were gonna mention about that follower on Stocktwits that
Oh,
followed us
yeah,
to
that's
our
right. Well,
room.
yeah, you can share that.
So yeah, Vegas has some followers on Stocktwits, and he found out about our chat room, so he joined it today, and he messaged Vegas today and said, "I just found this room accidentally VIA through Stocktwits, and I'm a great follower of your calls while I was in the or another chat room. Stopped trading in between for a while and started a few days ago. Made $200 on CRMD. Call today. Excellent technicals and a good call." And he said, "Thank you very much."
Well, you know what? You're so welcome, Jagadisham. I'm glad you made money on this trade. And I think other people I know made money on this today. So congratulations to other people that traded this on their own and did well. So what can we see here, Jim, coming up on this chart? Because I know a lot of people probably swing traded the stock. And what can we potentially anticipate next?
Well, I was looking at the yearly chart and I looked at it and it said 17 cents at one time. And this was back at a year's bottom, back on the fifth month of 22nd of 2018, and it's really been on a pretty upward hill climb all the way, rubbing up against that 50 SMA with some real nice breakouts on this stock, to where it created a resistance up here around 241, and then had a real hard sell-off and pulled back to that 50, bounced up a couple days, then pulled back that 50 again, then kind of went below it, but never did touch the 100, and broke up again, created another little resistance level right around 169, which became a support for many days on the stock after. And then here in the last 3 days, we've had a breakout from, looks to me like from about 185 all the way up to 272 high today. And I'm going to pull this up on a 20-day chart and take a good look at it. In the last 20 days, same thing, same action. It's had an up and down kind of roller coaster ride, but yet still gradually making new highs, and then we touched back to this 100 on a 20-day, and then today was just that beautiful little tear. And I'm going to pull up the 1 day, and I use these three moving averages, the 50, the 100, and the 200. So after yesterday's breakout from the 193, it closed up here right around this area, right around 214. So, just a halfway decent bounce, but it consolidated on the way up. Then the last half of the day had this little channel between 210 and 218 for maybe some scalpers. And then this morning when it broke out, first thing out of the gate, it broke out pretty strong, almost hit that 241 resistance, come real close, and I could be off a penny. So actually it hit 240 high, pulled back and hit that 200 SMA for a support level. I'd be watching it, and it consolidated for the rest of the day here. And then at the end of the day, she decided to run up above that 50 and she broke out and hit a 272 high. So she's pulled back a little bit after hours, hit that 100. We still got some positive, looks to me like these two moving averages, the squeezing here on the 50 and the 100 moving average on the SMA. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to see out of this tomorrow. And I'm going to pull up a year's chart one more time and show you that this was a year high. It broke out of that year high at 241. And then I'm going to pull up the 3-year here, see if I can find some new resistances. And looks to me like I did find some new resistances. We had one right here where it hit this little spot right here, consolidated, hit that little high right there. So we're going to draw a trend line off this candlestick right here, right about 273. Then I'm going to put another one right there at about 286. And I see another little resistance level. It's good that you can watch me do these, looking for other resistances on the way up. And I'm seeing one right here, right around 316. And I'm going to put a final, and then I can come back. Well, I'll just stop right there. So if this thing pulls back, it could pull back to this previous high we had right here at 242. That would be a good solid support. And I'm going to pull up the daily, see if I can find any more supports on this thing. I got one right here, 255. And I think I'm going to put one right here at this 248 level. So I've got my resistances set, supports. I'm going to put a resistance there and one right there. And I'm going to be watching this tomorrow for a pullback. If it pulls back at all, it'll be this one right here, this little, a good pullback. It'll be this little red line that I'm drawing in for support level. And I think and I usually call these pretty dead on. First support's going to be right here at 255. The second one's going to be right around 241. And if that don't hold, it might pull back to this 230 area. But I'd like to see it keep. I'd like to see it keep this resistance, this support level right here around 240 if it pulls back at all. This is CRMD, and I want to thank that follower that come into our chat room today. We're here to help you, educate you, and send you on the way to maybe one day you can sit there and trade on your own and be very comfortable with it. And the next one we're going to talk about is one that we've called in the aftermarket report a couple times here lately, and that would be apps.
Okay, so APPS company makes the phone app. They make apps for your phone, and they're known as Digital Turbine. Amazing earnings, just an amazing company. And if you listened yesterday, we talked about this stock for like a swing trade idea, and I even have it noted here that Jim talked about the cup and handle formation, and the stock went as high as 278. And it opened up this morning at 275. Like when I say it opened, like I'm talking 9:30. I'm not talking about where it was pre-market. So it opened up at 275, went as high as 295. And you know what? I'd like to know what Jim's thinking here. I'm seeing even after hours, it's at 298. It actually did hit $3 today. Today after hours. So, Jim, what are you seeing here? Because I'm thinking maybe there could be a continuation tomorrow. And love to hear your thoughts.
This is a wonderful continuation too. And I'm going to pull up the year's chart first just to show you what I was looking at. We had this big old nice little cup here, and she come out, she pulled back and hit that golden cross for a good solid support here at 163. Then she ran up and hit a double top. So we were wanting to see that double top breakout on this stock, and we've been calling this out. We called it out. She pulled back for a couple of days, and then finally it just broke out above that, that double top area. For the last 5 days, we've had a run on this stock from this area right here at around 227 up to 292. Now, we're very bullish on this stock, and we were back then, but the higher it gets, the more or less bullish you become, and you kind of want to see a consolidation. But these last 2 days had real nice candles from the 260 to the 292. I'm going to pull up the 20-day, and we'll look at it. So we had a nice little 5-day run, 6-day run from this area right here to 219 to 220 that I mentioned, that double top area. And she closed up, and after hours, she even run up some more after hours here to 298. So I'm going to put a little trend line right there. Now I'm going to bring it to the 1 day, 1 minute. We had a little pullback, and then she closed after hours right about here, and then she popped after hours to this 280 area, pulled back the next morning to support, and then all of a sudden, right when the bell rang, bam, she run up here to this 292 and held on that 50 SMA. Had a little candle wick touch the 200 and bounced on up, create another resistance level here at 294. And then after hours, we've got her up to 298. So if I was going to be looking at this stock for any kind of pullback support area, I would be first looking at this, but I think we can get a little bit lower on it to about 287. 287 or right around this 282 area. I hate to see it go below this 287, but if it starts to consolidate in this little channel, you might be able to have a couple scalp plays out of it. And this is apps. We're very bullish on it, but the higher it gets, the less bullish we become. And we start looking for areas of consolidation and maybe some good little pullbacks and play off the pullback. But I do love this company. And the next one we're going to talk about is PYX.
Okay, well, PYX, let me tell you, that company had earnings last night, and this is a really interesting company, but this, I think, was a big surprise to the market on PYX. They talked about their third quarter results. The revenues increased 9.8% to $524.5 million due to volume in Africa, which is attributable to larger crop size. So this company is in North Carolina, and they are an agricultural company. I also want to mention that this company also has a product called Corent, Korent. It's a cannabidiol hemp. It's an e-liquid line that's being produced by Criticality, and it's a joint venture. And they've had double-digit year-on-year growth from the e-liquids business line. This is just amazing, amazing. The other thing too that I want to mention, which was what excited me when I read about the earnings last night, is that I looked at the shares in the float. And when I was looking at the shares in the float, I like to go to a website called shortsqueeze.com. And when I went there last night, I saw that this stock had 30% of the float that was shorted. And you can even actually go on FinViz and just type the ticker, and you'll actually see that it shows you the percentage of the float that's short. When I saw that they shorted this stock, knowing that now the earnings were positive, I said to the chat group, hey guys, just as a heads up, because there's a lot of people that trade pre-market. I personally don't trade pre-market. Very rare that I do. But I did let the pre-market traders know that they might want to have this watch list for the morning pre-market, because I was definitely going to anticipate some excitement based on the revenues, and also the 30% short squeeze was going to happen. And you know what? This played out like a textbook. The stock, the market hours opened up beautifully at 1927. This ran all the way to 24.38. This is just amazing. $5.49 a share. I mean, this is just like incredible. So talk about, doing due diligence the night before, getting prepared for the next day. The room was like, whoever trades these kind of price of the stock, so exciting. And, I never even looked at the options, unfortunately, and I probably should have. But there was probably some really good option opportunities I didn't check. But I'll have to look into that maybe later. But it's a bit late now for me, because had I looked at even an option call for $25, I mean, those were going for like 20 cents, and now they're $1.35. So too bad for me. But congratulations, at least to the traders that benefited from this particular alert. and I'm going to keep this company on watch because I'm really liking this company. What they're involved in and the revenues and the phenomenal growth. So this is on my watch for future. But Jim, I want to hear what you have to say about this because this just ran so beautifully.
Yep. Well, we got a year's resistance high here right around 48.56. So this stock has a lot of room to run. She consolidated in a channel here with a low of $11.13 right there inside this channel, which is probably right where that red line is, and that's right around 1568. So the last couple of weeks it's been riding above that 1568. Then we had the big breakout today, which rose above that 200 moving average, which is right here at 1934. So I'm going to open up the 20-day chart, just have a little gander at it. That 1182 support right there, you see that? She went ahead and she's ran up ever since. She's had a couple real nice breakouts, so small little pullbacks. Pull back to that support level again there at 1459. Creating new higher highs. Come back and found support again at this next support level that I see right here. And that was right around 1521. And then here in the last week, last 5 trading days, she's ran all the way up from that low support of 1527 all the way up to 2295 with a high of 2438. So I'm going to keep this thing on watch for tomorrow. I'm just added it to my watch list tonight or today, and I'm going to pull up the 5-day just to have a little look at it, see what I see. I see a support level right here, so I'm going to add me a little support level right there just in case. I don't think it's ever going to get back down there. I'm going to say around this $20 area is going to be a good solid support for a low, with your first support, maybe your second support right around in this area. And this little trend right here between 2088 and 2167, with the first support right here right around 2242 is where I'm going to put that. I'm going to put a red line on that so I can mark it. And as you know, this might be educational. If you have think or swim toss, be helping you out there, showing you how to change these little resistance lines I have on here. Prices are always to my left, and the current price chamber right here is on the right. So she pulled back from that high right here to my first support level, or a support level at 2294. If that can't hold, it's going to go to the previous high right here, which is that red trend line at 2242, and that's about a 50-cent drop. And I would hate to see it going any lower than that, but you do have a solid second support here at 2152. And I'm going to watch these moving averages on a daily 1 minute. So I'm going to look at that real fast. We do have a little weakness I see with the 50 coming down, crossing down over the 100. If it crosses down over the 200, we could probably get down to this other support level right here at 2242. And I like that area. I really like that area a lot for a pullback. And if that doesn't hold, it'll be this next one at 2152. And you can stop these charts anytime you want. You can save them. You can use them as a reference point for supports. I'm pretty good at this. I've been at it for 15 years, trying to find these little support levels. And I wish you a lot of luck with this stock. This is PYX. And I'm going to look at one other thing to show you a couple resistance levels on this. And let's go to the 20 days, see if I can see anything. The 2432 is going to be your first resistance if we go ahead and continue on up. But I do believe this will pull back just a little bit before the market opens, and that's when you want to try to get in this stock. Don't chase it. Let it come to you. And let's look at the 1 year one more time and see if I can magnify this up. First, to look at the month. Yeah, the next support level is going to be right around this area here, and that's going to be right around 2583. So that's a pretty good little bounce from these two spots. I mean, 2438 to 2583. And this is PYX. Keep it on watch, and I'm going to wait for a pullback. And then I wanted to talk about one more stock here. Vegas, do you want to mention it real fast? Do you want me to just go ahead and talk about it?
Yeah, you can just go right ahead. I just want to let's talk about, shrimp. I mean, and you know, we've mentioned before, like this has been running and running and running. And, sometimes, like I said yesterday, and I just want to keep repeating this sometimes, stock is just not going to run forever and ever, always up, 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 and never pull back. And today was just one of those examples on shrimp. And I'm just going to turn it right over to Jim because he's been, commenting on this too. And, let's just talk about shrimp because I think, it could still be opportunities here, but it has pulled back a lot today.
Yep. We've called this out for 3 trading weeks. We called this stock out, or even a little bit longer than that. It was down there at 2 cents when we called it out. And we just rode it all the way up. And we rode it all the way up today to a new high of 9.949, almost 95 cents. And I tell the every time I've talked about this stock, I say get out of it in the evening. You'll have a chance to play it on a pullback. It usually pulls back to the previous high, which you can see in these candlesticks that it has, and you can get back in it. And today was a great example of a red candle, and we've scalped this thing. I scalped it twice on the way down, and I'm going to show you what I was looking at. We broke out from, we had that previous high of and this was starting to show me a little bit of weakness because we had the breakout high of 90 cents, and then she pulled on back a few times, and we called these pullbacks Monday, and then she went ahead and ran up and closed right up at the top of that little resistance channel. And then after hours, she run up, or pre-market, she run up to 95 cents, and then pretty much right out of the gate, she started to pull back. And she pulled back hard, real hard. She went from 95 all the way down here to a low of around 50 cents. And I called this support in the room before it ever even touched this 50. I said, keep a good eye on this at this 50, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I did that. Because I noticed that we had a touchback right here. We had touchback right here Friday, and that's where I called that solid support. And we ran up, and then we touched down at the previous high right here. Every chart tells a story, and if you can learn these patterns, you'll become an excellent trader. And so it pulled back to that previous day's high the next Monday, and then she ran ahead and ran up to a new high up here at 95 cents. So I had these all jotted down. I said, this thing's going to pull back to about 50. And sure did. It pulled back to 50. We got in and we scalped it. It was a pretty good call. And then she pulled back again, and I got in it down here. I think it was just under 50 cents, and I scalped it for 3 pennies. And if I'd have held on, I could have run this thing up to about 64 cents, 65 cents, and I could have made me a nice little kettle of money right there. And then she pulled back again to that support level that I called earlier in the day, which was around that 50-cent area. So that's where she's hovering right now. She's hovering. She closed at 52.45. This is a pattern that's telling me that it might pull back a little bit more. And if it does, fine, I'll just play the next support levels. And I believe them support levels is going to be right around 40 cents. 41, 42 cents if this area doesn't hold this 47. So we got a first support at 47. If that don't hold, it's going to be right around 40, 42. Remember, 3 weeks ago, this stock was just down here at 2 cents. So you could have took a 2-cent trade. If you were following us on our aftermarket reports and got all these alerts that we've been calling out on this stock, you could have ran this thing up to 95. And I know quite a few people that have been taking our advice on this trade. And it did follow this channel down here at 26, almost followed it all the way up here, and then it started breaking out of that channel. And we hit that channel again at 95 and decided to go ahead and pull on back. So there's a certain point where something really does get overextended. But we were bullish on this because they're going to raise some shrimp, which is the most consumed species in the ocean. And that's all I wanted to point out today. And then I wanted to bring up this little box that we made today of play of the day, which was really a play of the week kind of. And that could also be gone along with shrimp, SHMP. But we're going to go ahead and make it SHLDQ We ran it from 75 cents all the way up to 210. That's a 175% increase in less than 3 days. And it was off of real good news. And I'm going to tell you before I close here, there's catalysts that want to keep you in a stock. One of them's volume, and another one is news. Depending, you got to figure out good news can be good, but real good news can be better, and it can drive a stock up. And it's the same thing with shrimp, and this is the same thing with Shield, which I call Shield, which is Sears. Because, the big guy came in here and invested, he got it out of the bankruptcy court, and it just don't get no better than that. So news is a very big factor on how a stock will run, or how it will pull back, or how it won't hold the highs. And Vegas, that's it for the aftermarket report. And I want to thank that gentleman that got in our room today, that followed us on Stocktwits, followed Miss Vegas. And I think you did the right decision, and I hope you stick with us for a while.
Yeah, and thank you so much. I really appreciate that he wrote me that beautiful message. And it's and I want to also thank the YouTubers. You guys are so awesome. The comments we get from the videos, honestly, it just makes me want to make these videos. I mean, Jim and I sometimes we're so exhausted from the day, and I'm like, we got to do a video, Jim, for the fans. The people, there's people that are not even in our chat room, and it's okay. They're learning from the videos. Not everyone can be part of a room. I mean, they have another job, and they're trying to grow an account, and they're just growing it just from watching the YouTube ideas. And we are loving that. And it just inspires me and motivates me to want to do more, even as exhausted as Jim can be sometimes too. I mean, he is no worries, Vegas. Let's do another video. And, I love doing it because I love that it's helping people. So I love that you guys take the time to actually comment on the videos. I read every single one. So does Jim. And I actually answer every single message I get, because I'm just so excited when I read the comments. And so thank you all so much for even just watching, subscribing, and especially those of you that even comment. I appreciate it so much, and so does Jim. So thank you. I love you guys. I love stocks, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
And remember, we got our this is the second day that I Love Stocks chat room has been open. Today is the second day. And we do have the link down below the video here if you want to link into us. It's on a Discord app. And we do offer a 2-week free trial for you to get accustomed to the room. If it don't fit your style, that's fine. You still got the YouTube to watch. And you can follow us on Stocktwits and Twitter. But I basically want to say thank you to Miss Vegas for putting this all together. She's worked hard at it, and we've been together for 2 years. Working together every day on stocks, trying to read each other's mind. And so don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and ring that bell for future updates. This is the Aftermarket Report with Vegas and Jim. Today's date, February the 12th, 2018, and we love stocks.